Hello everyone, I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. So I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me and see me okay. I'm just waiting for the live stream to open up on my end. Seems like there's an issue right now. There we go, I see it just opening up. So if you guys can hear me and see me okay, please go ahead and put that down in the chat. It has been quite a productive day today. Lots of good things to come here on the channel. If you are new to following me on my channel, please go ahead and subscribe and turn on those notifications. Also, if you like the video, go ahead and please give me a thumbs up. And let's go ahead and get into our analysis. Hey, Trading for Pleasure. Hey, Asif. Thank you all for joining me this Sunday afternoon. So I have a bit of bad news. You guys see the Modern Trader Summit is up. Well, I'm completely out of my control with COVID that now it is postponed until 2021 because the borders are closed until the end of July. So that means I can't even go down to Philadelphia to host the event if I wanted to. I will see if I'm able to go ahead and host a bit of a virtual event on that day. For everybody that did go ahead and purchase tickets, they are going to be honored in 2021. So do not worry about that. Everything is staying the same, just the date is going to be a year later. So everybody can attend and we can all hang out. All right, so I do have my watch list right here as well. And you guys know if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Hello, Karim. Hello, Arky, Eddie, Goat Liver. Definitely go ahead and put them in the chat. I will get to them at the end, like usual. So this is the list. We will be going ahead and adding it right over here in the watch list. I'm going to move it on the other page. But you guys can see here the floats. So there are a couple that are lower floats. So OXM, OLP, and Quad S are low float. OLP has the highest short float volume. Excuse me, not short float volume, short volume. So that means that the day prior, 68%, hey, good morning, Hermes, was 68% short volume on Friday. So if that one squeezes up, the momentum continues, it could be quite of a run with less than 20 million in the float. I also have, we will go over the indexes as well. And let me know where you guys all are tuning in from too. I love to hear that. I know Arky's in San Francisco, and I'm not sure where everybody else is from. Or is it you, Arky? I don't remember. All right, let me put this over here. Let's go ahead and build the list right here. Let me go to my holdings for SPY Sunday. We'll go ahead, delete these, clear them out. I'll clean up my charts a little bit and we will look at some good things. Also, if you guys are curious about learning about trading around the dark pool, I do trade around the dark pool now. Definitely amazing, amazing thing. Ah, from London. Awesome. Good evening to you then, right, Karim? Definitely check out the training pit at thedarkpools.com. Amazing, amazing. We've had some great people come over. They've been so thankful to come over. Oh, from Pakistan. Cool. So they've been so thankful that they came and they joined the training pit because it has really changed their trading career. I had one guy say, you know what, Jane, I'm about to lose my business. What can you recommend for me? I said, come on over. Come check out the dark pool because it can really help you when you have that edge. You have the edge of knowing where the big guys have their trades. You know where it is. It's a line in the sand. Hey, we go above that. All right, guess what? They were buying. We go below it. All right, guess what? They were selling. And it makes it easier once you know what's going on with the big guys to be able to profit. You follow them. They want to go ahead and make big money, right? Don't you want to make big money? Let's follow them all together. So if this is recorded, I will go ahead and put that link up for people to click. All right, so we've got the list right here. Let's go to the SPY and let's clean this up a little bit. John from Austin. Yes, Arky's from San Francisco. Oh, I see, Frank. You're being a rascal there. You better behave or else I'll put you in timeout. All right, so if you guys don't already know, this is Tradingview that I use. And let's see if I can go ahead and move the settings because I like to have them be white. That should go ahead. It didn't do it for me, but I like to have the white candles. I can do that in a second. All right, so here we are. We had this massive volume. If you guys don't watch me on Ticker Talker TV, I do that Mondays and Fridays, 1 o'clock now. We had 3 weeks of just sort of consolidation on the indexes. This also was the bulk of earnings season right here as well. So we went above it, bullish above it, right? And we came down to the 200 simple moving average right here. And then we're pulled back a little bit and we bounced. Now, we had this week up here, right? Let's go ahead and draw this little rectangle right here, right? And we'll go over. So for this week, really, there was consolidation up in this upper range. Yes, it bounced up. We came up here, and then it pulled back. Let's go to our daily chart even. That's a 24-hour, so it's a little bit different. So we had this range right here, and it went ahead, and then we filled the gap to the downside right here. Many times you will see that happen, that it will fill a gap, right? So we came down, we tested the 200 simple moving average, massive volume, and many times you will see this sort of pattern, right? So it will come and we go down a massive bearish day, and look at how far away we are from the moving averages, right? So sometimes you'll see it go like this and then back like this. So it's a retracement to this trend that's being developed right here. So for now, we are in a downward trend unless we fill the gap to the upside, right? So right now, we don't really have a good clear. We closed above this with higher volume. This is just the top of the 2 candlesticks. Let me delete this. Drawing right here, right? So is this going to be a bullish candlestick over here on Monday, or are we going to continue down, remain below these moving averages? So really, if we go ahead and we break above this 312 mark, we'll likely be testing up here at 317 again, then all the way up to maybe that 319 area where we closed. If we go ahead and we break below the 200 simple moving average, when I was filming this on Friday, it's pretty cool because we got to see my alert go off, and then we started talking about targets. So I said, hey, next target down here, 299, yep, we hit it. Then below that, we could potentially test 295 down here, down to 294, and look at where that brings us, also to the top of this box. So we could come back down, test that, then even potentially down here, we have 2 moving averages coming together around the 290 mark. If we go down below 290, we might see the next, next $5 increment down, potentially 285 from there. And then if we go all the way down, we could test that 278. Now, big picture. Let's look at the big picture. We've been in a crazy upward trend, right? Right here. And if we come back down and we break below this, we could likely fill down to here, 268, and then potentially down to 255 if we were to really break down. Now, what happened? Fed, FOMC, they started cutting interest rates to stimulate the economy. We started moving up. They started announcing we're going to go ahead and buy back federally backed securities. So what does that mean? Well, if the car is a federally backed security and you have that and I buy it from you, that gives you cash, right? So then you can go out and you can spend that cash. So in them buying those securities back, it's putting money into the economy for people to exchange hands. Just like Nancy Pelosi is talking about, hey, we need to go ahead and give out more stimulus checks to go ahead and stimulate the economy because people are having problems with their unemployment running out, the additional unemployment going higher, as well as people just don't have jobs at the moment. So it's harder for the economy to be stimulated when people don't have that constant paycheck coming in. So they're trying to go ahead and think of other ways to go ahead and, in essence, boost the economy again so that we don't end up in a massive drop back down. Could we see a drop back down to the middle here of roughly 180, 170? It is possible. Is it definitely going to happen? We would probably likely have to test this area right here, 232, to see. And here we have this downward trend line from back here, right? It was a trend line. Hey, we hit here, we hit here. So we might even see a test down to 214 if we go to the downside. Now let's flip it around. If we were to be bullish, right, we go ahead and we break above and we have this bullish week, then we could come up here, test this 337 area, and even maybe all the way up here to 370. You guys might be saying, Jane, that's crazy, but we could have a massive squeeze on the market. So this upcoming week will be very influential as to what is happening. When we look at where we are on the weekly chart, right, we came down to our 8 EMA and our 50 SMA right here, and we bounced above it. So on the weekly chart, we're still bullish, right? On the daily, it starts to look like we're curling down, potentially bearish move coming, correction. We might just be in a bit of a tiny correction that happened for 2 days. They load it up and they could rip it higher. On the weekly chart, we do have higher than normal volume right here. So looking at that, we're still in that upward trend on the weekly chart. It's only on that time frame of the daily that looks like it's starting to curl over. Monthly, again, we're still looking bullish. Let's look at the Qs. All right, so Qs, you can see we had this trend line right here. This was off of the bottoms, right? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks that it held above, and then we broke below, and here again tested it and broke down. We are still above the moving averages, and we have higher than normal volume. So this candlestick is quite telling as well. We had higher selling volume than buying volume that held it up. So this next week could be very influential as to what's going to happen with the market. We are still in that upward trend on the weekly chart. So not 100% convinced that this is going to turn into a bear right away. This next week we break below that 227 area. Yes, feeling more bearish on the market. Let's look at also Apple, which is on my short list. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at that on my short list, potential short list, I should say, right? So this is still in the upward trend. We would really need it to break below 326, but even more so below 313 for it to get into that bearish movement. Apple and Microsoft, again, are the top 2 holdings in the SPY and QQQ. So if they start to go ahead and curl down, we could very quickly see the market follow. All right, let's go to our 15-minute chart, and we will go ahead and build our levels for Apple. I'm so used to seeing it black and white. It's kind of bothering my eyes. Hold on 2 seconds, guys. Let me just change the colors really quickly. Symbols right here, white, white. My eyes like the white better. Okay, whew, back to normal for me. All right, so interested in seeing it break above $343.50, we'll call it, or breaking down below over here. I want to see it break down below 334.80. All right. So we sort of went out of order, but it was because I was already talking about Apple, and so we'll build it right there. So 334.80 and 343.50. All right, and let's look at Microsoft. It's not on my list, but we'll pull it back on our daily chart. So Microsoft, you can see we had this downward trend. Volume came in once we broke above. We have this upward trend line. I've got 3 monitors and 2 laptops, ASIF. And you never feel like you have enough room when you're looking at all these charts. So here we have this downward trend. We had sort of a triangle right here. So when you do that, you can measure right here. So from here to here, this was $13, right? So if we measure again from here up, roughly $13, $13.13, we should have seen the high, right? 13, isn't that crazy how it works? When you start to study the chart patterns, you can start to aim for targets, right? So 13.13, 196 from the midline down here. Pretty cool. Yeah, right, Asif? Okay, so we're still holding this upward trend right here on Microsoft. We would need to see that break down. We have just closed below the moving averages, but we did have some buying power, and we had huge volume on Thursday. Many stocks have massive volume candlesticks, and another one right here. So if we go above that massive volume, pay attention. That will likely squeeze all the shorts that jumped in thinking, hey, this market's going to turn down from here. All the bears are hungry. They're hungry and ready to drop the market and jump on board, but they're getting these micro drops and then a squeeze and then a micro drop and then a squeeze and then another micro drop. So it could be that same pattern for now. All right. Just a little disclaimer, I did have my Series 7 back in 2000. It is no longer current. So please do your own due diligence in trading. Make sure that you do trade with proper risk management, and know that there are varying degrees of risk in all securities instruments, and no past performance is indicative of future performance. All right, that being said, first one on the potential long list, Party City, right? Big run up from down here, had earnings. Market seemed to like it. It's been riding this 50 simple moving average on up. We have the 200 simple moving average right here, which it rejected on the 12th on Friday. So sort of came down, up, and it just was channeling right here. So between 170, I would put a low of 1.7, excuse me, I just typed that wrong, 1.7 and 1.85 for the resistance to be broken. This was 48% short float volume on here. Asif, you know what, in joining the training pit, best thing to do is practice on paper first, and then once you figure out the strategy, then you could go forward potentially with opening up the option abilities. All right, so you can see right here we've held above the simple moving average right here, and we could go back up and test that 200 simple moving average again. So it is holding above the moving averages right here. We are in an uptrend, pulled back, earnings, we bounced up. So looking potentially for continuation of 2 more days, potential test of 219, maybe even 267. And if that breaks, you know, if it does break the $3 mark, then we could be looking out even further. Let's go back and look at a 5-year chart here. So if we break that 3 area, we could be seeing that it could come up and test 450 fairly quickly. So potential moves that could happen on Party City coming up. This is our weekly chart here. Okay, OXM. Let's put it back to 15 minutes. So on our 15-minute chart, does look like it found nice consolidation here. I would look for support to be held of $45 and resistance of $46.40. Okay, let me put it over here. Again, this is lower float, so be cautious. As quickly as these can move up, they can also move down. So you need to be very quick in locking profits, right? You can see this had a range of 58 down to 43, $15 range in 4 days. This has curled down. It could be in that retracement mode after earnings, and it could retrace back up here to 47.80, could test 49, might come all the way back up and even test up to 54. All right, you can see here how there was a gap. Look at how they filled that gap on this day. Well, guess what? We have a gap from here on up to 51. So we might have a nice $5 gap fill to the upside. All right, OLP. Again, we do have another gap, very similar chart to OXM. They have that higher than normal volume right here, testing right at the averages. It could go ahead and fill that gap to the upside up to 1880. We might come on up here, 1930, 1960, even up here. If we break that 2020 mark, we could go up to 2077. John, you missed the roofers. I don't. Oh, phew. Let's go ahead and break it down on a shorter time frame here. Thankful to be done with the roof. And it was our luck that unfortunately, well, they have to remove the roof, right? Well, they removed the roof one night, and then they were going to repair it. Well, overnight, what happened? A nice thunderstorm, some nice water damage. But such is life when you happen to change a roof. Okay, so here's our big picture. OLP, it looks like it traded sideways for quite a while. Then with the market drop down, came up, this was resistance, came back, tested that resistance, came back. And now is that resistance going to be held as support? And we're going to go back up and shoot up from here. We will see, but we'll have it on watch. All right, and that had 68% short float volume on Friday. So SSS, Sutter Rock Capital, you can see here is crazy volume. Where are we? Hi, Gazi. Where are we in relation to this crazy volume candlestick, right? This crazy volume candlestick happened, boom, it came down. Never really saw higher volume than this one in buying, right? And now we are above it. So is this buying volume back over here? This could be a big short squeeze that had happened, but it's not necessarily the same amount of volume as this day. Let's go here. And if I just hold that up, we should be able to see the volume was 1.48 million. And over here, we had 772,000. So potentially some more short volume to be covering. And it is just 13.5 million in the float. Ended up strong on the day. So watching that, look, it closed down here around 767. I would put that 750 mark as a range for where I would like to see it hold as support. So 750. All right, and a breakout. We went ahead and hit new highs after hours up there at 806 probably, almost. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 810 up here as that resistance that I would like to see broken. All right. We'll look at it, Gazi. I will definitely do gold. I don't do Forex trading, but I will look at the chart and let you know. I just stay away. But I will definitely look at the chart and see technically what it looks like. All right, Azul here. And I don't know if it would be delayed as well because I don't get Forex, so it might be, oops, I just removed all my indicators. We'll put them back. Let me put XAU USD. All right, I wanted to remove drawings there. Okay, so here we go. I would like to see this nice 1350 area go ahead and be broken for Azul, and support down here of 1250. Let's go ahead and change the color on that to red. All right, so 1250 and 1350. This does have 109 million in the float, and it was 40% short volume. So again, much like OXM and OLP, they have higher than normal volume, and they're sort of right in the middle. So it could go either way. This might have that move up to 610, test up here again, or it could come back down here and test the $10 range. So $3 to the downside potentially, and $3 to the upside. So definitely a good one to watch. All right, another one. Let's check out Facebook. So I'm so excited about Facebook. Look at this. So we had a double top up here, right? And we have this nice support right here, right at the 223 range. And then we have a nice gap down to 217, 218. I'm looking back over here, 218.50. So we've got almost a $5.50 drop potential to the downside on Facebook. Also in the indexes, in the Qs and SPY. So definitely one that could affect it. I want to say it's 5th or 6th for SPY holdings. Let's check and see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's number 4 for SPY. And for the Qs, it is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Facebook. So keeping that in mind, if Facebook's going to be moving, it could really affect the indexes as well, especially if Apple pulls back. So I'm going to put this down here to 223.60 and a break above 231. All right, 223.60 and 231. Another one on here, big major for the indexes, more so for the Dow. It's in the Dow top 30. So you can see we've got this nice gap. The computers love to fill gaps. So they could fill that gap and then they could take it back up and then they could take it back down, and we might come here and test that 203 range. All right, so we already went over Apple and Boeing. So here we are, much like OXM and OLP, Boeing sort of tried to fill that gap right here, right? Tried to fill the gap, so we might have a move to the upside up here of 202.50, or we could come back down, come down to 169 from here. And let's go ahead and tighten it up just a little bit here. So 190 to the upside, and I would want to see that the support of right here gets broken, because look at how this resistance could now be support once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. It was broken up here. This is our next level up to watch. So 185, or excuse me, 184.80 and 190. All right. Next, American. You can see how a lot of these are very similar. This one, we filled the gap completely on the wicks on the day. You see it came up here, yep. Came down here, yep. Now where are we going to go from here with this doji, right? We were up here, then we had a little abandoned candle right here, came up, filled the gap. It looks like buyers were taking it up. They closed it right here, similar to this area. However, this candlestick had higher than normal volume, hitting our 200 simple moving average, and then it came back down. We did hit the 15 EMA, back up, so maybe the next test is back down here again at 1480, and then back down to the 50 simple moving average down here. We will see, but that's why we watch them, right? Okay, let's build this here. Right there, you can see how it really respects those moving averages too. Whoops. All right. So we've got 16 and 17 is the support and resistance. And then the last one for potential shortlist is Carnival. Same scenario. That last week, the airlines, the cruise ships, they all just sort of started to surge, which was really more of a short squeeze. And then people, I feel really bad for the people that bought in right at the top, because then, wow, look at what happens. It drops $5, or roughly 20% of this value. It's dropped in 4 days. It's kind of hard to see happen. Everyone's thinking, oh man, I missed out on the move. I need to go ahead and buy into the stock market. Well, you also need to know what's going on, and you need to see where it is in the range. Don't necessarily just buy at the top, because if it's going to be breaking out, yeah, it's great, but you need to protect yourself at the same time. All right, so here on CCL, you see how we have this nice support that happened pre-market on Friday. I would like to see that hold again, 1926. It didn't hold during the active trading session. So 1925, we'll move it down another penny, would be the support that I want to go ahead and see, as well as 20 to the upside for CCL for resistance. All right, now I forgot, let's look at it on the chart and you can see a little bit more clearly as well. So we had this gap right here, and they filled that gap, brought it down, and it's in the middle, right? And testing the support of that candle. I have 4 different potential longer term swings, and you'll see. So we have TOR right here. The reason why with TOR, crazy volume right here. So we've had all of this volume down below, and really all of that volume, it's pretty much right in the same range. It's not this candlestick right here, so it could be buying volume to just take it up. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert right here on TOR crossing up. Okay, and we also have OPRA, right? So OPRA, when we look back on it, came down, bounced here, tested this moving average, came back, and ever since earnings, it's sort of been trending up following the averages. It's been hovering right around this moving average. So I'd like to see if it can break that 750 mark, not 750 area, and then come on up and test this trend line from up here. It could happen where we're going to test that trend line, break out, and then come on up and test that $10 mark. So definitely on watch. We also have SP as well. And SP has been hovering right here with the 50 simple moving average. So it came down, bounced off of it before. It could be playing average pong, right? Came down. Now we hit the 20 simple moving average, this orange line, and it's up above it. So if we could break above that 23.20 mark right here, could have a potential move on up to 26.20, and could be more of a swing, then test the 27 up to 29 up here. You can see once it broke the 200 simple moving average, it tested it, and then it came back down. So if we can go ahead and break these moving averages along the way, might make it all the way back up to 34. Oh, thank you, Dave. All right, final potential long here. Genus. So Genus, why is this one so interesting? Well, they are launching the cartoon channel June 15th with over 100 million US television households and 200 million mobile devices. And it is free as far as I know. Being a mom of two, huge, 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 right? Especially in this quarantine time. So that's why this is looking so interesting. When they first announced it was back here, and it surged from 285 to 11. What happened? Then it was a sell the news scenario. Well, now we're going into actual facts, right? It's like when Disney first said we're going to be launching this Disney stream. Initially, it ran up, then it pulled back, and then there was that second wave surge. Hey, look at how many people we actually had sign up in the first week, first month, right? So this has gone to the stratosphere. It came back to reality, hit the 20 simple moving average, and now it's just right in the middle of them. Yes, Gazi, I do use them all, and it does look a bit busy, but you can see that they do follow the moving averages, and then it'll potentially bounce off of one, come back up, bounce off another one, and so I use them all. All right. Okay, let's look at gold, right? So gold, this is a daily chart against the US dollar. I'm going to pull it back even on a weekly chart so we get a bit better picture. All right, so it looks like this 1744 area right here, 1744.27 looks like a strong resistance to be broken. But what's awesome, right, if you guys know anything, we have a nice ascending, I don't know how that happened, but we have a bit of ascending triangle, right? Nope, I want a trend line, please. We'll make it red, right? So if we can go ahead and we can continue just building it tighter and then break out, we could have a really nice move coming, right? It could, you can see, if we go back, let's even pull it back further on a monthly, right? And auto right here. Okay, so a bit of a cup. Could there be a handle? For sure. We could have a little bit of a handle. Now, if we don't want to see a handle go deeper than 50%, right? So here's our low. And remember, this is on a monthly time frame. So 686. So we don't want to see it go below 343. So we don't want to see it drop back down further. We don't want to see it drop back down further than here, right? We don't want to see it hit this 366 level. If it's gone back that far, it's probably a bit much. So I would potentially look at, if it pulls back to that 1460 area, could continue. Now look at this. We've got the massive volume on the monthly. We are above that largest volume right there, right? And that was March of this year, 2020, was the largest volume. Again, another high volume. Where are we? We're above that. Let's go and pull it back out on the weekly chart, right? So if we go forward, here's that March one right here, where they bought on the 50 simple moving average on the weekly chart. So if it pulls back to 1554, looks like potentially the chart respects that 50 simple moving average fairly nicely, right? It's been respecting the 20 simple moving average, actually 21 right here, this green dotted 21 EMA. So hey, let's see, 1653, as long as it's holding above that 1653, excuse me, I want crossing down there, then it's continually going to be in this upward trend, right? We're on a weekly chart. We are above all the moving averages. It came down last week and it's bullish above now, right? And when we pull it back even further on the daily chart, yes, we have this strong resistance. So really looking for that test to break out, all right? So I hope that helps you guys. You guys have anything else that you guys would like to see on any stocks you guys would like to see for an analysis before I go ahead and wrap it up for today? And if there's anything that you guys ever want to see in my videos, you know, how I came to trading, anything else like that, feel free to go ahead and put it in the comments below, and I will be happy to share it with you guys. Zekin for a swing. Had good news Friday, but faded most of the day. All right, Brett. Have you ever heard the saying, sell the news? So a company can have amazing news, and then it can fade, right? Yeah, John, you know what? I had Adobe on my list, and then I pulled it off. Because I thought, you know what? That's a $400 stock. Most people don't necessarily want to see that. So I'm guessing that it was a short squeeze. Let's go ahead and look here, right? I go to short squeeze really quickly. Zekin. Oops, I typed in skin. Zekin. So 4.3 million. So Brett, when you're looking at that, that's a very low float, right? So it can shoot up very quickly because the shorts start to get squeezed, and then they go ahead and they step in, and you can see that it came right back down. It hit the moving averages, and then it started to curl up a little bit. I don't know if you're long in it. I would want to see it go ahead and cross up that 180 range, because it looks like it came down, it tested it, that was our next resistance that necessarily to be broken, right? Okay, so let's go and look. Okay, it's going really quickly, guys. Hold on 2 seconds. FSLY. FSLY here. Okay, so let me pull it back on our daily chart. Got some remove. Okay. So FSLY Fastly has been, I see this right off the bat. My eye sees, hey, look at this. We pretty much have strong resistance right here, right? Selling, selling, selling. Whoops, didn't go. Selling, selling, selling. So Fastly to me would need to really break that, and it would need to stay above that trend right there, right? It could happen. It might be that this week there is a higher than normal volume candlestick and it breaks out. So I would definitely watch it to break out above that 48 level with higher than normal volume for Fastly. All right. And Las Vegas Sands. Let's check it out. Jay Taylor. Let me just remove all drawings on here. Okay. So I see a little bit of a channel. Right here, right? And it's really been bouncing between it. Up here, came back to midline, up here, bounced out a little bit here. So it might test back up again to 54, or it could pull back as low as 46 right there. Do you see that, Jay? Where it's just sort of bouncing up in this channel. We had higher than normal volume when it dropped below the midline and below the 20 simple moving average, and it's right at 20 simple moving average and 21 EMA. So it's just below the moving averages, it's curling down, but again, you'll look at it on that weekly chart and hey, look, it's right at the 4 EMA. So it still has that potential to move on up, could even come up here and test that 58 range. Higher than normal volume, the week prior to last, and it's coming up to earnings the end of July. Okay, let's go to Adobe, ADBE. So I was going to put this on my list, but it's higher priced than most. So that was the reason why I did not at $400. Let's remove the drawings. It does look like it could have a potential breakout here. Let's go ahead and draw this. I'm going to make that green. And it's riding this 200 fairly nicely as support right there too. If you guys can see that on the 15-minute chart. So I would give it a fairly wide range, $10. So 400 or 39, 399.60 and 410 area. I'd pull it up to right up to 410 for Adobe. And when we look back on it on the daily chart, had earnings a little bit lower than expected, but came down to the 15 EMA and it bounced up, right? But it couldn't hold above that prior high. It still sold off down below, but we had buying power that kept it up. All right, so we covered Adobe. You guys had questions on that. PG, so Procter and Gamble. So right here, I feel like this one's losing steam. You see how it's tested up against that 200 simple moving average and it's pulling back, right? Procter and Gamble though, hey, most people, they make basic goods for everyday use, and that's what a lot of people need, right? Especially in quarantine. That's what people are getting, right? So I would want to see it hold 15 for support, 115, excuse me, and break it about above 117 right there. You can see, and then it might go up and test 120. If it breaks down below here, potential test down to 110. All right, I'm getting there to everybody. So NKLA. All right, Nicola. All right, so let's check how many it has. It looks like a nice little low float based on the chart. I do like to look at that to see how much it's going to run. So 156 million, so it's not low float. But we do have a crazy run up here, higher than normal volume, came back, bounced off of this moving average, and is now in that upward motion. So would look for it to go ahead and break above 69 or hold 56 as support. Okay, Zekin, we already went over Zekin, Brett, right? Yeah. And let's go to TJX. So TJX, they are starting to curl down. It's looking a bit bearish. However, it did bounce off of this moving average. Not that I use stochastics as a reason to get in. It looks like it's still in that downward trend, and we are below the moving averages. Oops, I hit. And we opened high and ended up low on the day, right? So I would want to see that this is going to hold that 51.20 area and 53 for breakout right there. All right. We already did Las Vegas Sands. Walmart. Walmart curled down on Friday. Big red day. So Walmart is looking bearish to me. We are below many moving averages. Next stop to me is down roughly at 110. Might test around 115 and then, you know, maybe 112.50 and then 110. Hey, Randy. All right. Walmart, TJ Maxx, and work. Let's look at work. Oh, my pleasure, Travis. All right, so work right here. I'll draw it right here and see if when we pull it on the 15-minute chart, how we can see, like right here, when you look, it just bounced between these levels for so long. And then all of a sudden, whoop, look here. First volume, high volume candle day up above, ran up into earnings, gapped down below the 20 simple moving average, came back to this area, and it's sort of been channeling between it, hit our 50 simple moving average and came back above. But right now it is in that downward trend. not super, super high volume. The highest volume recently since earnings was the day after, and then this day right here. And we're sort of in an indecision day. So I'd want to see either break down below 20 or above 32. All right, so that's going to be it for today, guys. If you guys ever have any questions, again, put them in the comments. Shoot me an email at jane@cjanetrade.com. You guys can also get my daily watch list on my website at cjanetrade.com. And that's going to be it. Carpe Profit. Seize your profits one day trade at a time.